some presentation. He probably doesn't feel like doing much.
He doesn't feel like doing a lot of things. I said he doesn't feel like doing a lot of things. He's been rocking it now, I guarantee you.
Yeah, I will stay.
He's like, I'll be feels about now.
Part of
I'll be PlayStation.
Oh, what?
all the artists are in there too. I'll take one from back each.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, next is Jacob Smith.
What happened to my classroom? Disappeared. Yeah, there. I didn't know this new tab came.
Oh, I know when it came up as well.
Oh.
I picked up my blue pen that I've been using, so here we go with black. Is the Pennsylvania. All right, Jacob.
Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
I get the next one.
Yes.
Oh, there should be a thing.
Pennsylvania. Okay. Look that Pennsylvania's demographics is Pennsylvania has a population of about almost 13 million as of 2021, and 8.7 of those are registered voters as of May 2022, and 3.45 million of those are Republican, and 4 million Democrat, and the rest of them are just other party, which is about 1.2 million. Pennsylvania is also predominantly Democratic. The Republican candidate is Mehmet Oz. I call him Dr. Oz. He received a bachelor's degree from Harvard and a joint MD and MBA from the University of Pennsylvania School of Medicine and War Business. He served in the Turkish Land Forces in the Turkish Army. He hosted a TV show about medical matters and health, and he's a retired cardiothoracic surgeon, which is heart and chest. He was appointed by President Donald Trump to serve on the President's Council of Sports, Fitness, and Nutrition for about 2 terms in May of 2018. The issues, I don't see these as issues, but for a Democrat, for a Democrat, it would be he's pro-life, so he's against abortion. He's all for the Second Amendment, so he likes his guns, and he's free. He likes free speech. John Fetterman, he's the Democratic candidate. He kind of looks like a pedophile.
It's on one of those.
Like a biker gang or something.
He's kind of
Or
weird.
a wrestler or something.
He's kind of weird. So, he received a bachelor's degree from Albright College and a master's degree in public policy from Harvard. He is the lieutenant governor of Pennsylvania and was assumed office on January 25th from 2019 to now. He served as the president of the Senate. He served as the mayor of Braddock in Pennsylvania from 2005 to 2019, and he ran for Pennsylvania's Senate seat in 2016, and he finished Braddock primary. the issues with him. He's pro-abortion, and he thinks weed should be legal for everybody, like on jobs and stuff, which can cause problems, obviously, when you're working. So the minimum wage should be $15 an hour, which is not good for now. And here's a chart. Actually, I looked at it last night, and they're about 1 point apart now.
1 point apart. Okay.
Yeah, so this is from October 5th, but as of last night.
Okay, so since October the 5th to here, they're 1 point. So that is
Yes. I don't know. I didn't look into it
5
about
points.
what changed that, but I'm gonna have to look at it later. But I don't know. But they're 1 point apart now, so it's pretty close. And obviously they were 5 points apart, so I kind of predicted Fetterman to win, but not sure. And then,
Next up is Mr. Carson Anderson.
I caution. Oh, you tell me.
And you have your CIA reports.
I do not have those printed. I don't. But
Tomorrow, by tomorrow, today.
Well, my back, boys. You can see in the, you see Taylor, you're like, what?
Oh.
Okay, well then just keep them in.
X out of his up there on the main menu thing.
Dude,
Up
I
there at
heard
the top.
There.
Yeah, and then your thing should come up. Okay.
I mean, do I look like I was? No.
Right there where it says Wisconsin is the arrow to the side, or you can down right there and it's like.
Brother, children painted black.
Okay, guys, let's devote full attention here.
I had Senate race for Wisconsin.
Cool.
And the voting demographics for Wisconsin, population is about close to 6 million, and 93% of that are registered voters. And I forget what that exact number is.
That's okay.
And it's split down the middle between the Republicans and the Democrats. So the votes usually tend to swing wherever the independent voters decide to vote. And usually in the past 2 decades, they've voted Democrat until, I want to say, 2016, I want to say? 2012. And then my Republican candidate was Ron Johnson. Net worth about $39 million. And unlike a stereotypical politician, he worked for his money instead of inheriting it from his granddad or his granddad's granddad. He worked with his wife's family's company for I don't know how many years. And he was voted to be a senator in 2010, and then a year later he decided to represent Wisconsin. On some of the issues, he wants to do away with abortion. He's pro-life. He doesn't support it. And in one of the articles, I wouldn't say he is completely against it. He said he would rather leave it up to the people to vote on instead of just ratifying the Roe v. Wade thing entirely for Wisconsin. And then, but he doesn't want to raise the minimum wage. He wants to keep it at where it's at because he is scared for the local businesses and all the jobs that would end up disappearing and the lack of employment that would ensue. And then on gun control, he stated that there are around 100,000 gun laws. And instead of making new ones, we just need to start enforcing the ones we already have instead of just adding onto the list that we don't bother using.
Correct.
And then on my Democrat candidate, we have the Mandela Barnes, and he's the lieutenant governor of Wisconsin, so he's pretty well known in the state. And then his approval rating is currently 49%, and that's most probably due to because was the governor before he started this race. And he's been in the Wisconsin State Assembly from 2013 to 2017. And the issues on the debates that I looked up, it was the same 3 or 4. It was abortion. He's all for abortion, and the article said, in quotes, women's rights. And then he wants to ratify the Roe v. Wade motion, and then he wants to raise the minimum wage to $15. And he believes that to reduce crime, he says they need to fully fund schools because he believes that if there are more educated generations coming up, he believes the crime rate would drop later on. But that's what I'm saying. And then this poll, I don't know if it's how accurate this is now because this was as of it was towards the end of October. I want to say around the 20th ish. And every poll that was on Google besides this one, the previous polls, they kept Republican has always been above the Democrat. So that's part about going into my prediction. And my projection is that Johnson is going to win because he has a popular vote because he's already stated that he's represented Wisconsin before, so he has the popular vote in that case. And then he won that past election. And then the polls, every poll that became more recent kept moving up in his favor. So that's my prediction that Ron Johnson will win the Senate election.
Was there any political baggage that the Democrats had bringing up against Johnson?
No. Been pretty clean as far as all the stuff that they seem to bring up, like past tweets, emails, stuff like that. He's been relatively clean, so they don't have any kind of dirt on him to try to bring up.
So both of your candidates have won statewide
Elections, yes.
races, so they're it would make
I mean,
sense.
it's not like it's like a wide gap. It's like neck and neck. So like, it can flip on the switch, and then we're excited. There's supposed to be 2 others, but I forgot to put them down.
Okay. So if you'll
And the other 2 that I forgot to put on there are in my
we'll click out of that thing, those 3 little buttons to the side of your thing, and we'll just hit exit. Close out at the top right there. And next up is Mr. Grayson Smalley. Hey,
James Grayson.
You said 10 minutes.
Right. That was the date of the poll. No, that was the date of the poll that I got for my presentation. That was the date of it.
The
Hey,
arrow.
what's the right
Next
arrow?
to
No,
fire.
no, 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 no.
Arrow.
This one right here.
Flash.
And then, yeah,
Well,
that thing, that wasn't, well, it disappeared.
You just hit everything that you could have used to put it in the wall.
Hold on just a second.
That's how we get out of here. Oh, like 45. No, 35. No, 35. Yes.
Okay, Mr. Small.
Okay, so I had the Rhode Island Second District, Alan Fung versus Seth Magaziner. Their political demographics is they have a population of 1.1 million, and of Rhode Island's registered voters 140,000 and 166 are Democratic, and 56,060 are Republican, and then they have 206,703 independent voters. Democrats have dominated since the Great Depression in Rhode Island, and they are 79% white, 6.54% black, and 4.95 two or more races. Issues separating the candidates is the Alan Fung, the Republican, is is against abortion and is just for pro-life. He supports the Second Amendment and guns. He is against illegal immigration and does not want them here, and he does not want to raise taxes on higher profit families. Republican candidates has been mayor of Cranston, Rhode Island since January 5th of 2009. In 2014, he made an unsuccessful run for governor. He received a law degree from Suffolk University and has served 2 terms as Cranston City Council and has also an unsuccessful run for governor in 2014.
Do you know how close he came to winning on those races? Did you read?
He lost very badly.
Man,
Same thing.
He's Alan Fung, the Republican, is against abortion and supports pro-life. He is trying to lower the cost of living in Rhode Island, lower the price of gas, and stand with local and national law enforcement. The Democratic representative, Seth Magaziner, was elected as Rhode Island General Treasurer in 2014 and is former Vice President at Trillium Asset Management. He has a bachelor's degree in history from Brown University and also has a master's degree in business administration from Yale. He believes in the right to abortion and that we should take away firearms. He wants to raise taxes of wealthy families and large businesses and supports LGBTQ. This is the poll trends for this, and it really surprised me because everything I've read, Rhode Island has been a very Democratic state and a very independent state. Not much going for the Republican candidates, but I guess they were tired of how things were going, and so the Republican is actually winning the poll at this point. And when I check back on it, he's still winning from a very large sample.
from large?
Large. There's a pretty decent sized gap in between him and the Democratic candidates.
And the Democrat is the incumbent.
Right.
Is that right?
This is how they might vote. He is leading in the polls, and since 1928, there's only been a Republican candidate president voted 4 times. Last being Ronald Reagan in 1948. 84, sorry. Have only voted Republican governor 2 times in Rhode Island.
They may be coming around.
That's what I'm thinking. I project Alan Fung to win. He's a leader in the polls. He has more political experience than Seth Magaziner and is a very transparent candidate.
Next is
Okay, I had the race for the Senate seat in North Carolina. Demographics, the population is 10.55 million. Almost everybody is registered in North Carolina. There's 2.53 million Democrats, 2.34 million that are unaffiliated, and 2.10 million Republicans. So North Carolina has voted for 12 Republicans and 3 Democrats for president, but 4 Republicans and 11 Democrats for governor. The first candidate is Sherry Beasley. She went to 4 different colleges. She's the first African American woman to serve as the former Chief of Justice of the Supreme Court, and she was an associate judge for 4 years before that, and she was endorsed by Obama. On the issues, I did the 4 main issues that everybody from North Carolina wants to see the most change in. So
Are they in any order, or like are you working from
yes, sir.
from left to right?
Yes, sir. So, Beasley, for preserving democracy, she wants the Freedom to Vote Act, which enacts automatic and same-day registration for voters, vote by mail, and early voting. And she does not want criminals to be denied or abridged just because they have a criminal offense. On healthcare and abortion, she wants to expand the Affordable Care Act, and she wants to have the Women's Health Protection Act put into place, which prohibits governmental restrictions on abortion services. She also wants to expand Medicaid and more federal funding for Planned Parenthood. On the criminal justice system, she wants to expand drug treatment and mental health courts for those who have been tried, and she wants the legalization and regularization of marijuana. On immigration, 11% of the workforce in North Carolina since 2018 are immigrants, both illegal and legal. She wants a reform that provides citizenship for those who are legal.
Did she say for how long? I mean, how long they need to be here, or just?
She just said that she wants them to have their citizenship. She wants to secure borders and reduce wait times for legal immigration and visa programs. Then we have Ted Budd. He went to 2 colleges, and one of his qualifications that he put on his website was a store.
Nice.
His experience, he served 3rd term in the 117th U.S. Congress, but he's never held an elective office before. Financial Services Committee amend restrictive regulations that lessen business creation, and he was endorsed by Trump. So on the issues for him, he wants every U.S. citizen to be able to vote, but he does not want convicts to be able to vote if they hold a high enough felony. For healthcare and abortion, he does want more healthcare, but he wants it to be competitive. He doesn't want it to be free like Beasley does. And he does not believe in abortion like Beasley does. For the criminal justice system, he wants the act Pay Victims Not Prisoners, which is an act that redirects stimulus checks that would go to prisoners to families of those criminals. And he wants to strongly enforce laws, increase police funding, and doesn't want any legalization or permanization of marijuana. For immigration, he also wants to secure borders like Beasley, but he wants to build a wall, and he only thinks legal immigration should be accepted in North Carolina. Polls. This is by age. So, 18-year-olds to 34-year-olds voted or were unaffiliated. 35 to 54-year-olds were Democrat and unaffiliated. 55 to 74-year-olds were Democrat, and 75 plus were also Democrat. By race, American Indians were 50% Democrat, Asian were 52% unaffiliated, Black were 79% Democrat, Hispanic 43% unaffiliated, and white were 41% Republican. And then here's the race. It's very close. And I think it's still relatively the same. I think he still might be winning by like a little bit. I think.
The senator from there has been a Republican. They've had Republican senators for a while. I think you already brought that out.
Yes. But they tend to vote for when it's not presidential, they tend to vote more Democrat.
Oh,
They have voted more Republican for presidents, but anything like below that, they voted Democrat.
so the coattail effect there, or the lack thereof, is one reason this is neck and neck, I guess.
That's why I think that the Democrat, basically is going to maybe make a comeback because they tend to vote more Democrat on stuff like that. And everybody who lives there is Democrat.
That leaves Noah.
Okay, can you match them? Yeah, if you can match them to the hard that'll help.
You want my CIAs right now?
No, you can do that at the end of your presentation. Do we have enough time?
Yes.
How much
Yes,
time?
sir.
We got like 10.
That's pretty cool.
Sorry.
Okay, at the 2022 Florida governor race, I enjoyed this a lot. Yes. So the Florida political demographics, the population is 22,085,563. Democrat, it's of registered voters are 34.3%. Republican is 36.4%, and Independent is 29.3%. So his back. That's some information. Okay. Yeah, I got it. Okay, so the registered voters are up 174,000 from last year. I thought that was good.
Okay, 174,000
Yes, sir, from last year.
increased registration. So do you know how those fell out? Are they keeping close to the same percentages here?
So the Democrat Party has decreased by 113,000, and the Republican Party has increased by 135,000. So I thought that was interesting.
Thank you, Lord.
So he served as 46th governor of Florida. So he's running for his second term. He was a member of the U.S. House of Representatives. He got his education at Yale University and Harvard Law School, and he was awarded the Bronze Star Medal and Iraq Campaign Medal. And the Bronze Star Medal is for heroic achievement, and the Iraq Campaign Medal is like if you like served a long knife in Mission Iraqi Freedom, which is like all this stuff in Iraq.
So on the issues, he's pro-life and he wants to restrict abortion even in cases of rape or incest. The critical race theory, he does not support. He doesn't want it to be in any businesses or schools K through 12. And so he made a legislative proposal on the woke indoctrination. But a federal judge, like earlier in October, the federal judge ruled it unconstitutional because it violates the Second Amendment. So I don't think it's going to work out for that. And then the gender identity, he signed a parental rights and education bill, which basically means like he's going to let the parents of the kids to like he's going to let them pick how they raise their children, which I like. And then gun control, he doesn't want to do anything to the gun laws, and he's a big supporter in the Second Amendment. So Charlie Crist, who's the Democratic candidate, he was the 44th governor of Florida. He served in the Florida Senate. He served as Florida Education Commissioner and the Attorney General from 2003 to 2007.
So, all three of the four of those, he has ran for statewide office and won.
Yes, sir. But that's not going to be the case this time. So on the issues, he's pro-choice, and he has fought to protect Roe v. Wade, and critical race theory. He supports it. He's a heavily supporter in it, and he wants it to be taught to. He wants to brainwash all the children. And gender identity, he's a proud ally of the LGBTQ, and he wants them to be free from discrimination or hate. And gun violence, this is like the only. There's some things in his gun control policies that I can kind of agree with. He wants to ban the assault rifles. I don't agree with that. He wants to close the loopholes and require universal background checks for gun sales. And one thing, he wants to stop gun trafficking, like the process of it, close down the networks, which I can see because basically that's an outlet for all criminals and people who actually want to do harm to get it. I can agree with him on that. And also ghost guns. And ghost guns are made out of like plastic stuff that can't be traced, and he wants to so basically you have to have some like a special blend to make ghost guns, and he wants to track down that, which I can agree with that. So you got something right.
Have y'all ever seen a plastic gun? Anybody?
Yeah, they
Yes,
make them
sir.
out of 3D printers.
Yeah.
But you've seen them?
Yes, sir.
I mean, pictures of them or held one of them in your hand?
No, I've seen pictures of them.
Yeah.
There's it's where people can I saw a TV show where I forgot what TV show, but a lady had it on a stroller, and the pieces of plastic looked like the baby's toys. But then when she got into the courthouse, she put all that stuff together and shot the guy. So that's bad. So this poll graph, red is DeSantis and Chris is blue, and it shows in some of the middle it's pretty neck and neck. And Republican, he has a 91-7, so God's people. And Democrat, Chris is winning that. So each party's protecting their
Can I
guys.
explain this is a likely voter. So right now, DeSantis is 60% and Chris is 47.
DeSantis is 50 and Chris is 47.
All right, now, so tell me on this. So you've broken it down. Where's your source for that information? Did you?
I have it.
You have it in, okay,
Yes,
very
sir.
good.
I have it in like a bunch of.
Art, on the span of time, is there a span of time that this has been done, or is this the last one?
This is just 2022.
Okay. All right, very good.
This is another poll graph. This is from September to October, and it's pretty. It's like he has an 8-point difference as of that's like the 28th that I looked at, 28th, so 8-point difference, and I think it's going to rise more in the coming up. And then right here he has 50% to 40%, which I think that's more like clear. And then also the demographics of race. Population is 22,085,563. The whites carry 72%, African American 16%, Asian 3%, and then Native American and Native Hawaiian come out to about 30%. Okay, forecast and conclusion. This is a slide. So pay attention. So DeSantis has very deep funds for his campaign, and when I mean very deep, he has little over 100 million more than Chris. So DeSantis has 102 million. Chris only has 3 million. So that shows like how much more qualified he is. And DeSantis is a candidate for the 2024 presidential election, and that means he'll only be able to serve 2 out of the 4 years in term, but his lieutenant governor is Lynette Nunez, and I like her a lot. I didn't put any of her facts really, but I read up on her stuff, and she's really for she's a very clear thinker, and she follows the same the same morals as DeSantis, so I think she'll be able to follow up his goal orderly if he decides to run for president. And he's a patriotic candidate as his qualifications that I did in the previous slides, and he wants to protect Florida's rights and amendments, and he continues to build on Donald Trump's gains with Hispanic voters, and this is pretty big. It's kind of small if you just read it, but this is the turning point that if Chris doesn't gain some support from him, it's going to be a tie. There's no way he's winning if he doesn't get at least 30% of Hispanic votes. And then Chris is for abortion rights, which means that the people of Florida could vote in his favor because Roe v. Wade has people pretty emotional. And he has a support President Joe Biden 100%. As of, I think it's this week, Joe Biden is flying to Florida to campaign for him. And that was posted on October 24th, and they said next week, so I guess that's this week. So I'm interested in that follow-up. And he has a large population of African American progressive left voters that tend to lean Democrat, but I don't think that's enough. Even in my opinion, that's only a fourth or a third of all the votes. So he won't get it. And then this is the winner.
That's the winner.
Guys, man, amen. And then this is mine.
Can you please tell us more?
Oh, and it works out of you. That works.
I have to know more about this. Maybe you keep talking about.
I got
Alright, now we need your slide presentation on Seagull.
I did those in my free time. I think you knew what you was talking about, boy.
Hey.